You're listening to Men of Abundance, episode 70 with Kingsley Grant.
Welcome to Men of Abundance, the podcast for those looking to level up their lives by hanging out with some of the greatest leaders and established professionals in our community, living a life of integrity, honor, and the abundance mentality. Prepare to pay it forward with your host, former Army medic turned lifestyle entrepreneur, Wally Carmichael.
What is going on, Men of Abundance? I am so excited to be back here again with another amazing featured guest. Today we are going to be talking quite a bit about relationships and the importance of relationships, not only in your life at home, but also in your vocation, in your business, everything that you do in life. Relationships have a major impact in everything that you do. Once again, I want to thank those of you who have been leaving a rating and review in iTunes. I read every single one of them, and I am blown away. I truly appreciate you taking the time out of your day to go there and leave such amazing ratings and reviews and giving me the feedback that I need to make this show and this community everything that it is. You know, this community and this podcast has taken on a life of its own. It truly has. I had no idea it was going to do this. On top of the ratings and reviews, about twice a week, I'm receiving some sort of a message from somebody, either a man asking me to further assist them in something that's going on in their life as it relates to abundance, or I'm being referred to somebody else and asking to contact this individual, or if that individual can contact me to receive some guidance, some information, even some coaching in living a life of abundance. I'm truly blown away with this. And this started happening about 2 months ago. Since then, I have been in the process of racking my brain to figure out how to set up such a coaching program to help men living a life of abundance other than what we're sharing here on the podcast. I truly believe you're really going to like what I came up with, and I'm going to share that with you in just a few minutes at the break. Our featured guest today refers to himself as the graveyard robber. You're going to see why here in just a minute. He is a national and international motivational speaker, corporate trainer, licensed marriage and family therapist, relationship and career change coach. He focuses on helping aspiring coaches, speakers, authors, and small business owners quickly craft their dream and ideas into reality. He teaches them how to share and monetize their expertise and experience and acquire time and financial freedom doing what they have always wanted to do. He writes for great publications such as the Huffington Post, Addicted to Success, and the Goodmen Project. He is a proud dad, husband, a man of faith, and an entrepreneur at heart. He is the president of Helping Families Improve, Inc., which is a company that focuses on improving communication with relationships. Men, it is my honor to introduce you to Mr. Kingsley Grant. Kingsley, welcome to Men of Abundance, man. How you doing?
I am fantastic, Walt. It's great speaking to you, and I hope you're doing well there in Hawaii.
I am indeed. It is absolutely gorgeous here. I mean, it is just so beautiful. I don't know if you know this or not, but I kayak part of the way into work. And the water, in the morning, it's about 65 degrees this time of year.
Ooh.
This morning it was. But the water is warmer than the air. So, and my butt gets a little wet because of the kayak that I have. It does get a little wet. So, but where are you at in the world?
I am in South Florida. Unfortunately, it's where they had this crazy shooting that took place today in the airport. But I'm south of that, so I'm in Miami in South Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
just unbelievable. I'm watching that unfold. I don't watch the news a whole lot. I don't sit on the news. I like to see the highlights, but this is what I'm following.
It's
actually,
crazy.
Yeah, because I know that they've recently released that the individual the shooter had a military ID on him.
Wow.
So, and I have some connections and stuff, so I did a little bit of research. We'll just leave it at that right now because I don't want to put anything out that I'm not supposed to. But yeah, it's just a terrible, terrible thing that's going on in the world, over there. And I'm sorry for all the families and everybody involved. It's heart-wrenching.
It is. It is. But, I think other than that, we are in this part of the country where it's really not as blizzardly, the blizzard and the cold. We're very warm here, actually. it's like in the 80s today. So, we're kind of similar to you. So,
Yeah, and if we ever were to leave Hawaii, there's one of two places we would go, and Tampa area is definitely one of them. And the other one
yes,
is Texas and San Antonio. They're both good to veterans as part of our decision-making process when we think about living
that's
somewhere.
awesome.
Hawaii isn't too great to veterans as far as that's concerned, as far as how
Right.
is nowhere compared to Florida and Texas.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you and I have been following each other for quite some time on social media. I've been following what you're doing. You comment on some of the stuff I do. And
Yes.
we talked months ago about getting you on the show, and then it just dropped off the radar. Both of us got busy. And then recently, we got our schedules set up, and here we are. And I'm so excited to have you on the show.
I am so myself too, Wally. I'm really happy to look forward to this, and I've listened to a number of your show. I've watched, even the redo of your website and the logo. All that I've been watching and following, and said, man, that's really great. How you really are just pivoting and tweaking, and just always moving forward into excellence, and that's really a good thing to model for those of us who are watching and learning from you. So thank you for what you do.
Oh, amazing. I really appreciate you saying that. And before we
Sure.
get too much into our conversation, I do want to make sure that I start out the show the same way I pretty much start every morning, and that is with an attitude of gratitude. What do you have to be grateful for today, Kingsley?
Well, like we mentioned before, the unfortunate situation that's happened today in our state, that I'm so thankful that my family, it's safe and that we're not at the airport. But most importantly for me, my relationship with God is the most important thing. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for good health. So I'm a man of gratitude.
Wonderful. That's beautiful. I have kind of selfish reasons to having you on the show as well. One, because I just like to have amazing conversations with men like you, and women for that matter. But you're a coach of coaches. I mean, you have
Thank you.
skills that I've recently I just found out that I'm looking for. And I didn't realize this. And let me clarify that a little bit. I've recently a couple individuals have been contacting me and asking me to coach them in living a life of abundance. And
Yes.
these guys are pretty well off. They're doing pretty darn good themselves by most people's standards, but they just see something in their life that's missing. And while I know that I'm living a life of abundance, and I pretty much know what I've done to get here, to where I'm
Right.
at in this part of my life, and I'm far from done, God willing, but what I don't know, to be quite transparent, and I told them the same thing, is I don't know how to put a coaching program together. Now, I do know how to coach people in the health and fitness arena, because I've been doing that for many years, on a side, and not as much active as I used to be, but I do still coach people in the health and fitness industry. But to coach people in how to live an abundant lifestyle, while I am writing the book, Living Your Life of Abundance, to set up
Awesome.
a coaching program is a little bit different. So at this point, I want to find out more about you, because I like to find out on the Men of Abundance, as you know, is I like to learn more about the individual. I like to find out, the man behind the abundance. So I'd like for you to talk a little bit about yourself, as hard as that may be for some people. I'd like for you to get a little bit personal.
Well, I think for me, Wally, everybody might hear my accent. So I want to kind of really upfront just say I'm from Jamaica originally. I migrated to the United States over almost 38 years now. So almost like 40 years I've been here, more than half of my life, and I'm married. I have two young adults, and I've been married for 31 years and counting. So it's been great, and the same woman, and it's been awesome to have that journey with her. And as I mentioned before, that I'm a person of faith, and so it plays a huge part in how I do business and how I do life, and that's why relationships is so important for me, and why coaching is such a very ideal fit, because they have to do with empowering and relating to people and pulling out the best of them. So that's what just gets me up and drives me. So that's a little bit more about who I am.
Wonderful. Yeah, exactly. And Men of Abundance, now you can see why I wanted to have Kingsley on the line, because he perfectly fits in line with who we are here at Men of Abundance. So, I know that I've been following you, and I know you got some amazing success. And I don't know that you've had the opportunity to really talk about that kick in the gut moment that kind of is part of who you are. and what kind of transformed you into what you're doing now. So I'd like to step into that and hear your greatest kick in the gut moment. So share that story with us.
Sure. I love this question as I listen to your podcast many times when you ask this question to all your guests and to listen to the different stories and what they share. But for me, Wally, in 2008, December, I left my job of 21 years and to pursue my own entrepreneurial journey, and left with that no solid kind of financial footing to really go on. No windfall of a savings, no insurance. And in December of 2008, I found myself on a hospital bed with my chest split wide open, undergoing a quadruple bypass surgery. And here I am 6 months after I resigned. I'm wondering, did I make a mistake? So I had a huge to overcome this, not only physical, but mentally and emotionally. That was like a huge hurdle that I think, could I ever kind of come back or from this, And that was a huge one for me. And then on top of that, 3 years later, my mom, she was battling cancer and she died. And, one of the things that I remember my mom sharing with my sister before she died, a couple of months before she died, my sister asked her this question: Mom, if you could do anything else in your life other than teach, which is a school teacher all her adult life, what would that be? And my mom, Wally, said a surprising thing to my sister. She said, I wanted to be a nurse. And that nurse died inside my mom and went to the grave. And so what I've decided in my life, that I don't want anybody that come into my sphere of influence to die with a dream inside of them. So I call myself the graveyard robber. I want the graveyard to not be any richer than it has already been when people have died and go there with their dream inside of them. So I'm really passionate about trying to call people out into their vision and their mission of life so that the graveyard doesn't become any richer. That is my kick in the gut moment, but that's what a pivoting turnaround thing has been happening in my life as a result of those things.
A graveyard robber.
Yes.
I love that. I do, because in Men of Abundance, if you have never heard the reference of the wealthiest location in your town is, it is the graveyard, because so many dreams and potential, billions of dollars, if you want to put a monetary a monetary idea to that, but so many dreams and ideas went to the grave with the dreamers, and it's just sad. It really is. So I love what you're doing and waking people up and telling them go after it. I get so passionate about this myself. It's exactly where I'm at too, and that's why I really am I'm working with a coach actually now to help me build a coaching program, and I'm going to spend the time to do that because I just know there's so many people out there that want to live that lifestyle and want to fulfill their dreams. It's amazing.
And that's what I think is I love your program, because it's really calling men and women, of course, into an abundant lifestyle. Simply, to me, I'm hearing behind that message that you have an abundance within you. It's just a matter of just tapping the right place and getting that out. And so I love what you do, because you're, in a sense, motivating, encouraging, and calling people to that place where they really rightly belong. So I appreciate the work you do.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate those comments. And so based on what you do, I mean, obviously we know, what your kick in the gut moment was and your pivot point, and that you briefly described there exactly, why you're doing what you're doing. I know you have to have quite a few good news stories that you could share with us. You don't have to share any names or anything, but share a story with us that really touched your heart, that just stuck with you.
One of the stories I share pretty often is this gentleman who's very, very wealthy, and he actually, came to see me and sought out my help because his whole family, he was doing really, really good in the, the entrepreneurial world. Business is doing, multi-million dollar per year. But he said to me, Kingsley, all that's wonderful, but I'm falling apart because my relationships with my wife and my kids, and I just don't know how to do that very well. And basically what I did with him was have to walk him through a system that I found has been so helpful for so many people, which I'll share more about that later on, but to help him walk through a system of really finding who he was again, his priority, putting things back in the order they're supposed to be. And having done that, I mean, he will tell you today, he said that was a saving grace for him because his family has been turned around. His business is doing a whole lot better than it has been doing, because now he feels like he can do the job or his business and not feel so stressed out with everything else hanging over his head, because he had to go home and deal with all of that. And said, Kingsley, I know how to do my job. I am successful at that. What I cannot do well is what I need for you to help me with. I was helping to walk through that process. And another one that comes to my mind is, I have this guy, I work with some very high-end clients, and this one guy, he is a professional football player right now, and I'm not going to mention any name, but he came to see me, and because he was referred to me by, some people who know the work I do, and he came to me and he said, Kingsley, I've been around, but here's my problem. And he shared with me his issues, and I won't go into any details here, but he shared with me his issues and said, I know that people who have come to you and work with you have helped me. And I'm not trying to pat myself on the shoulder, on the back here. I'm just kind of sharing some true stories here that's happened. And again, what I found is I was able to kind of connect, because for me, I'm a connector. I'm a relationship person. And with my empathy and my communication skill, which is my strong point, I was able to help him, again, figure a way how to take the same skills and wisdoms he have on the football field and turn it internally to now create a path where he can also be successful in his own personal life and, outside the football arena. And, for me, when I see those stories and hear those stories and talk with those guys, I mean, there's nothing on this world, not even money in my hand, that does my heart well than to watch that and say, I know that person, I see that person, I know I had a chance to at least in some degree influence their lives.
That's amazing. And you did exactly what I wanted you to do, which is pat yourself on the back, because we want to hear that story. I just think it's amazing that you do that. And we're trained, we go through school for whatever vocation you want to get into. If you end up in college, and even through high school, we're taught all kinds of various subjects and things that we're supposed to know throughout life. And even courses that you can take on learning how to do social media, or learn how to be work with metal, work with wood, learn how to be a truck driver, all this stuff. But where are the courses, where are the classes that you can take to learn how to do what seems so basic, which is living with your family, living with your teenagers, living with your spouse for however many years? And where are the classes for that, as other than just going to talk to your priest or your chaplain or your pastor or whoever that's in your community?
Right.
And a lot of people don't they don't feel comfortable with that, or it's just got a different connotation. But where are those classes? And we look to people like you. And I just think, and it seems so basic. It seems like, well, I should know that. But Men of Abundance, the fact is, you really don't until you experience it. And even when you're experiencing it, sometimes you're not doing it right. and you know that when you're stressed out at work or you're stressed out at home. So what other indications would somebody come to you and say, hey, something's not right in my life? Do they realize right away that it has something to do with their family lifestyle or anything like that?
Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they come in with one issue, and which I find, in the coaching industry for example, most times people who are you have to want coaching, because we know that we don't really need certain things. We have to want them, because I realize that my life could do better. I could be at a better stage of life. And so what happened is that people come in and in their mind, they're saying, this is what I think I need to work on. And you start with where they are and you ask certain questions and you probe and you try to get them to really get to the, what else question, what else, and why. So these questions have to go them deeper. And when they get to that place, I find sometimes is not really what they came in with, because they may want to make more money or want a better job, which is great. And you can walk them through the process because it's all, client centered. But what happened is that they realized, okay, then what? I got a better job. Now what? I make more money. Now what? So the part to uphold that is missing, the foundation. So taking them back to the basics, they realize, I need to have it in place first. Then I can build up on the things I want, so that when I build up, I won't find myself topping over because I'm top heavy, so to speak. So I think your point is well taken, Wally, is that the basic things many times is what's overlooked because it's basic.
Yeah, so let's take this to the sports side, because a lot of men obviously watch sports and they don't realize that professional players have coaches.
Yes.
And you have amateurs out there who are trying to be a better batter on the softball field without a coach. They're just trying to they're just swinging every day. They're going to the batting cage and they're swinging every day. And they don't realize that if you have a coach, how much quicker you're going to get better, because a professional baseball player has a batting coach. A professional football player has a throwing coach, a blocking coach, a hitting coach, so on and so forth. They have these coaches, and that's what ultimately makes them better. But what do those coaches focus on but the basics, right? Over and over again.
And that's a very great analogy, because I think what happened, going back to my client, and I want to say I have myself, I believe in coaching. Actually, I just recently finished with my last term of coaching right here, because every year I may have one or two coaches working on different things, because I really have to, for me, I need a coach in my life. And I, for the last several years, have always had a coach working on different areas of my life, because I believe so much in that. And if I don't have a physical coach, coach through, other media, like in this podcast or books and so on. But, when I go back to my client, I was talking to him about moving the ball down the field. I said, you are trying to, you're a great player, granted. However, there are some things you're not seeing that your coach is able to see. And he would pull you aside and say to you, what would he say to you? And he would say, man, you could have ran this way, or, start a step and whatever it might be. So, okay, think about that for a second. Did you know at the time you were doing that or could have done that? No, because you're so focused on that, really the pocket and breaking out, you're not seeing what the coach is seeing. Now, he's going to help you create other options you can now have in your toolkit. So when you're out on the field, you can now make more yardage. The coach help you to move the ball down the field. And that's what we do as life coaches or career coaches, is help the client move that ball down the field a yard at a time, and sometimes some burst, 10 yard or a bomb and a 50 yarder. But the point is that you need someone to help guide you and encourage you and motivate you, but also to tell you about what you may have overlooked, because you're so much in it, you can't see what's happening around you.
Yeah, very good point. Absolutely love it. And one personal point that I want to make is when my wife and I were a young couple, I just happened to know a guy who is a psychologist, and I used to sit down with him and talk to him about marriage, and the struggles of marriage and raising a family and whatnot, especially in the military. And that paid off big time, even though, we just sat down and had conversations. But, that must have shown somehow in what I do as well. My son and his wife were recently here, and they've been married just barely a year. And they were here on vacation here in Hawaii over the holidays. And I didn't know this, but that they were doing this. But we had a conversation, and they said, "Yeah, we go down and talk to the chaplain about once or every other week, just about marriage stuff." And I said, "Well, let me ask you," and I knew the answer. I said, "Do you guys have any issues in your marriage at this point?" They said, "No, we don't, but we want to make sure that we don't." And I'm
smart.
It's not going to make sure that they don't have issues, because they're going to have issues, but they're going to know how to handle that when the time shows up, when it comes. And it's so smart. And I was so proud. I was just so proud. I was almost to tears. I cry easily anyway, so.
But that's great. That you're a person of abundance, and so that's a good sign of abundant mindset to show your emotions that way, Wally.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think some will say otherwise, but I don't care either way. Well, I do care either way. I just don't care about the folks who, call me a sissy or whatever. I don't care. I'm good with that.
It takes strength to do that.
I think so too. So, Kingsley, we're at the point where we're going to pay it forward to Men of Abundance. You ready to do that?
We're definitely sure.
Outstanding. Hey guys, ever since I have been contacted a couple months ago about coaching men in living a life of abundance, I have truly been racking my brain and trying to figure out how to do this. And to be completely transparent, my first thought was to create some sort of a course. And while I had no idea where I was going to start, I was certainly up for the challenge. Because after that first contact, a couple days later, another man contacted me. Actually, it was his wife, who mentioned she wanted me to work with her husband. Now at this point, I'm getting more and more people contacting me to help coach them in living a life of abundance. After consulting with my mentors and coaches, this is what I've decided to come up with, and I think it's the best course of action for everybody for so many reasons. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start a Men of Abundance Society, which is going to be a private membership group housed at menofabundance.com. In this group, you will have exclusive access to me. I will be occasionally bringing in other experts in various fields of finance, marriage, relationships, health and fitness, you name it. As the group continues to grow and evolve, I'll be bringing on more and more experts, but you will always have access to me. You will also have access to each other. All of you have something to offer another man based on your personal experiences and education. And at the same time, myself and many others in the group are going to be there to hold you accountable to your goals and desires. As a listener of this show, I'm going to offer for you to be a founding member, which means you are going to get greatly discounted price for a limited period of time, and it's going to be affordable for everybody anyway. But I'm looking for a few founding members to get this thing kicked off before I open it up to the general public. There are two ways to get started as a founding member. Number one, if you're already on Facebook, go to menofabundance.com, click on the members only link at the top of the page, and then that way you'll be able to get access to our private Facebook community. We already have about 150 members of that group right now. Now, if you're not on Facebook, I totally respect that. All you have to do is go to menofabundance.com, click on the contact form at the top of the page, send me a message and tell me that you want to be a founding member of the Men of Abundance Society. And when the Men of Abundance Society is officially launched, you will be notified. I look forward to seeing you in there. Now, let's get back to the conversation. So give Men of Abundance 1 to 3 actionable steps that they can take today.
I would first say to them, get outside insight or outside input into their lives, because there's a blind side of us that we don't know or see of ourselves. There's a Johari window study that shows about there's a quadrant. We have a quadrant of us, which is called our blind side. And most times people outside can tell us what they're seeing. But here's what happened. We tend to ignore or deny or just dismiss that as irrelevant or play it down like, no. But we need to listen more intently, because they're telling us some things that we could really use to better ourselves. So I would just say listen to outside. Of course, it's not every person that is going to speak into your life, but people you can trust and you have good relationship with. Trust that they have your best interest at heart, and don't dismiss everything you hear about yourself. Take it to heart. Look at what is maybe true about that, and possibly work on that in your life, because there are great nuggets in there that can help you to go to the next level. So don't dismiss. So that's one thing I would say very much, I think it's so important, is to get outside insight, but listen to the right voices. Second, I would say surround yourself, which they may have heard so many times, with the right people. The people who are want to take you to the next level, but also will be a cheerleader. So they're doing the things you want to do. So don't have people who are going to suck the life out of you. Get people who are going to help you, lift you up. And the whole rising tide idea can occur at that moment. So I would just say those two major things I believe will be very helpful. And, of course, expose yourself to podcasts like yours and books and so on. I think it's important in their lives as well.
I do too. You're definitely the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, and you don't have to spend that time with those people physically. You can either get a hold of their books, their courses, their podcasts, watch the YouTube videos. It can be a group of people that you hang out with in, private Facebook groups or otherwise. They don't have to be right there in your general area. And in many cases, those, especially if you're at work, there's a lot of negative people in the office. I sit in the office sometimes and I just have my headphones in, and if I'm doing something that I don't have to completely focus on, I'll have a podcast playing in the background so it drowns out other stuff going on in the office, and I can do that. But yeah, great points. I really appreciate that. What daily habits make the biggest impact in your life?
For me, it's prayer, meditating, exercising. Those are very important things to me. And of course, and then, every day have an input of some kind, reading, listen to audio. Those I do every day.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So what book, you already mentioned, how important books are. What book would you recommend to our abundant leaders and why?
I would recommend right now the book by Mindset by Carol Dweck. And because she talked about the idea of having a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. And I think it's important for us who get stuck so easy to realize that there are other options to explore. And it's not just, this linear thinking, A to A causes B. It could be A plus A1 plus B2. All those can be factored in. So she talks about the idea of breaking free of this, into this growth mindset rather than having this limited mindset. So I love that book about mindset by Carol Dweck.
That sounds like a great book because I'm really big on mindset. If you take two people that have the same skills, the same age, the same background, the same finances, and one has a excellent mindset, a growth mindset, and not a fixed mindset, and the other one has a fixed mindset, the one with the growth mindset is going to win every single time, all day
Every
long.
time.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Every time.
That's the one difference that is the biggest difference, period. So do you know if that book's on audio?
Yeah, it's on audio, yes. And that's also in print as well.
Perfect, because I definitely listen to many more books than I do read just because I just enjoy listening. And then what I do is if the book's great, like one book that I'll mention is Abundance by Peter Diamandis. It has a lot of facts and figures in it that I wanted to study, so I listened to it a couple times, then I bought the physical book so that I can go through and kind of study it and highlight it and stuff. So, and Men of Abundance, I mention this all the time, I'm partnered with Audible, which is really important for you because now you can go get a 30-day free trial and a free audiobook. There's 180 titles last I checked. So Mindset might be amongst those. And if it is, then you can get that book for free right now. Go to the show notes of this show at menofabundance.com. Just search Kingsley in the search bar. This episode will pop right up. Click on the Audible logo. Get your free 30-day trial, get your free book. And what you're doing for Men of Abundance is you're helping us keep the mic on, because for every free trial, I get a kickback off of that. I put that into Men of Abundance so that we can keep the mic on and keep bringing amazing guests to you like Kingsley Grant. I have one last question for you. Actually, I have two questions left for you. I'm going to ask the second one. I haven't asked anybody else this question yet, so I'll wait till you give this first answer, which is, what does living a life of abundance mean to you?
Relationships.
Expound on that a little bit.
I pause there for a second because I believe everything, Wally, everything in life we do, every problem we have in life has to do with relationships. It's either how, either it's going great for you or it's not going great for you. It's a business relationship, family relationship, just friendship relationship. Everything in life, every problem we have in life have a relationship component. And I believe that if I can navigate relationships well and find a way to communicate and interact with people around me and build a good, strong relationship component in my life, I will be successful. I will be abundant. So relationship, I believe, is one of the most valued currency of any abundant person that they could ever want to have in their lives.
Very good answer. I love it. I absolutely love that answer. So here's the follow-on question that I have to that is, what do you think holds so many people back from living a life of abundance?
I think it's what happens between their two ears. It's just really their belief system. See, your belief, Wally, and you know this. Our beliefs shape our behavior. It's what we believe about ourselves, the world, and whatever happens around us is how we behave. So belief has to be tweaked, has to be shaped, has to be attended to, so that I can behave in a manner that gears me to abundance. So I believe that if the person who's listening right now is to think about within their 2 ears, their mindset, what do they believe about themselves and about the world, their potential, their abilities? Those things makes a difference in their lives.
Excellent. Yeah, 100% agree. Absolutely. That is one of many things that I believe holds people back from truly living a life of true abundance, because I know people that, earn anywhere from $50,000 a year to a couple $100,000 a month, and universally across the board, some of them are extremely abundant in their lifestyle and in their lives, and others are not. And it does not, the amount of money that they make is not the difference. It's what's just exactly what you just said, what's between their ears.
Yes.
And what they do with their lives and their abundance.
I agree.
Wonderful. So I really appreciate your time, and I'm glad that we finally got a chance to get together on the show and have this conversation. Before I let you go, if you could, leave us with a parting piece of guidance and any way that we can get in touch with you and anything that you're excited about.
Wally, thank you for having me on the show and giving the opportunity to also mention that. But I would say the parting piece of guidance, I think about, this framework that I believe is so helpful for me and helpful for people I work with. And I'm just going to just briefly mention that in closing here, that to do life in abundantly, or in any way possible, you want to do it in a very smooth manner. Smooth simply means this. You want to be able to script your struggles. So what are you struggling with? And script that out. Then you want to be able to map your mission, means your goals. What are your goals in life? And then look at what are the obstacles. So I said out your obstacles. What are the obstacles you're having? And if you can put these on paper, write these things down, and then open the options or opportunities. Because around us, there are so many opportunities, but we get stuck because we haven't done the first 3 things. And then I would say this: train our time, meaning that use our time wisely for things that are moving us in the right direction than the wrong direction. And lastly, find a way to hit the hole-in-one, get a first win, small win that can get you motivated. Because once you have that first win, you now believe in yourself that you can do a second, a third, a fourth, and so on and so on. How you can reach me is simply KingsleyGrant.com. KingsleyGrant, KingsleyGrant.com, and all my links as far as social media and so on is all right there. So that's the best place to find me.
Excellent. Just make it easy. I love it. Wonderful. So again, thanks for your time, Kingsley. I truly enjoyed this conversation. Have an amazing day.
Thank you, Wally, and likewise to you. And enjoy Hawaii, and I enjoy Florida.
Always. Take care.
Take care.
All right, all of you amazing leaders, that is all I have for you today. Thanks again for sticking around to the very end. I am sure you got a lot out of that conversation. If you did, make sure you're abundant in your life today and share this with others. Do not keep this to yourself. And go to menofabundance.com/070. Click right underneath the podcast player. You will see a button that says leave a review. Click on that button. It'll take you right to where you need to leave a rating and review. I would greatly appreciate that, because the more ratings and reviews that we have, the higher we get pushed up in the search engines. That way the men who are looking for this kind of information will be able to find it. Now, go out and live your life of abundance and make sure to pay it forward.
That's all for today, Abundance Leaders. For more about our guests and the powerful information we shared with you today, be sure to sign up for our mailing list at menofabundance.com. We appreciate your time and look forward to hanging out with you on our next episode. So until then, be sure to pay it forward and live your life of abundance.